Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Relationships. What would you do if during lockdown your flatmate told your significant other that they are in love with them? Well, that is exactly what's going on with our first OP. So let's get started with that first story. This one's from user Discombobulated Owl 81. My 27 female flatmate 27 female has told my boyfriend male 31 she's in love with him. I moved into my flat in October of last year to take the place of a mutual friend of mine and a new flatmate. We have a generally great atmosphere in the flat and both have similar expectations and habits, and while we're not friends yet, as in we wouldn't go out for brunch or be each other's +1 for parties, we are very friendly. She seems super normal and level. When the lockdown began on March, my boyfriend, male 31 of 2 years, was living with his sister and his mother, undergoing chemo, who lived alone. Needed somewhere to stay where she could be looked after, so she moved into his room and he came to stay with us. My flatmate was totally fine and we had a proper chat about ground rules, etc. But ultimately, the flat is huge for 2 people and she has a kind of granny flat set up in hers. Either way, she gave definite approval. Now, we 3 got on great, but never really spent a ton of time together. We all work from home and spend the occasional evening playing games or whatever, but ultimately, we didn't mingle much more than before. My boyfriend, however, cooks every night for the both of us as a thank you, and so we do eat together, and my flatmate seemed happy to be included. It was great. However, last week my boyfriend took me aside and told me that while he was in the courtyard hanging out the washing, she ambushed him from behind and gave a huge speech about how she's in love with him. And while she respects he's with me, she has deep feelings for him and that she's available if he were single. Oh, and please don't tell OP. She didn't try to kiss him, but tried to hold his hand. He yanked it away and hot-footed it back inside. He was very anxious and flustered when he was telling me this. The flat atmosphere is very awkward now, but as far as she knows, he's not said a word. She's not said anything else to him, but he did mention that she had touched his arm a couple of times as she was walking past recently, and it's really gotten under my skin. My boyfriend is also confused because he hasn't spent that much time with her apart from dinner and never alone. I spoke to our mutual friend who was shocked and says she's never done anything like this before, and she'd never known my housemate to have a crush on anyone either. I've not seen her acting strangely in any other ways, and it hasn't outwardly affected how she treats me. We can't move right now because the bug, money, etc. How do I deal with this? Well, that is one sucky flatmate. That's not cool at all, just going to your flatmate's partner and say, hey, I love you. What the hell? Anyways, we're gonna take a look at a few comments to see what kind of advice OP's getting, and then we're gonna go take a look at the update. Lucifer Rising says, bro, what the F? Have a serious and long conversation with her, your boyfriend included. This is extremely inappropriate and it's obviously affected everyone in the flat. Communicate how it has affected the atmosphere and let her know that she can't be touching up your boyfriend when he's, still in a relationship. That's wrong and disrespectful. Coco Sneeze says, absolutely confront her. There are 2 huge issues here. First, she asked your boyfriend to keep this a secret. And second, yeah, what a trash friend and roommate she is. Crushes happen, but for her to confess to your boyfriend, she was legit wanting him to dump you for her. She wasn't just confessing if he was single. She knows he's not single. She was making her move, but she got shot down. And your boyfriend needs to put a stop in the touching, etc. And maybe this is going to be unpopular advice, but do not care one bit how uncomfortable it will make everything. Her, the house, etc. She did that, not you. You're just going to call her out on her trash behavior. I Am No King says, there is no easy solution. Option 1, you sit her down and tell her your boyfriend told you everything and he is super uncomfortable. Tell her that she crossed major boundaries and you need time apart. No more shared dinners. Option 2. Even though it's a lockdown, housing is still a priority and rentals are still allowed to be shown and whatnot. Start looking into other affordable housing options. Personally, I would do both options. I know confrontation is hard and uncomfortable, but what she did was so unbelievably out of line, and touching your boyfriend is so creepy. You will never feel comfortable around her again, so even though you can't move out tomorrow, you should start saving and planning for moving as soon as possible. Well, they're all very solid pieces of advice. So now, let's continue with the update to see what OP actually did. Okay, firstly, thank you all for your advice. And no thank you to the few who took it upon themselves to DM me to be inappropriate or creepy. What the F? Read the room! I trust my boyfriend completely. Even if I didn't, this apartment is large, not massive. I know where that beloved mother effer is 24/7. A lot of you asked when, after my housemate's confession, he told me about it. He told me a couple of hours afterwards. He explained to me after we had a chat about it that he was afraid I wouldn't believe him or be angry, because at first he thought it was a weird joke that made him uncomfortable. He felt, rightly so, weirded out. I agree with the bulk of you that her continued touching is harassment, and while a number suggested he just confront her himself, I empathize with being in a situation without breathing room where someone is intimately harassing you. It's not easy, and you can quickly find yourself unsure if those brief moments of crossing a line happened. He's not on our lease, and understandably, he was concerned about me and the power dynamic in the house, because her room is a mini granny flat. She pays the bigger share. I also don't believe that it was, as some suggested, a hypomanic episode. I have BP too, and while I understand the love rush, she exhibited zero other behaviors and never tried to contact my boyfriend outside of the weird touching. I also can appreciate there's no way she was actually in love. So, yesterday, after a tense few days of trying to avoid her, my boyfriend and I were in the kitchen at breakfast, with her around in the living area. I went to our bathroom, she has an ensuite, which is just off the main area, to brush my teeth. I walked back out to grab my phone as she was sliding behind my boyfriend, who was looking in the fridge, and caught her running her hand and forearm across his lower back where his t-shirt had ridden up a little. My boyfriend, who didn't see me, yelped really loudly and just lost it. He yelled at her to stop, and when they both saw me, he starts going, "You see? You see? This is what I was talking about." I was furious, just whole body anger, and I could see she had now realized he had told me about her confession behavior and just sprinted to her room and slammed the door. My boyfriend and I went out for a walk to calm down, and he kept apologizing for not being more firm, but he was shaking up. Some of you told me I should just confront her head on, which in the moment I 100% sided with. I was so angry for him. He told me he'd rather give her the opportunity to do it diplomatically. I appreciated what you guys said about lockdown being extenuating, and in discussion with our mutual friend, I was willing to believe that an element of it was naivete and a bit of fantasy gone too far. I was willing to be kind to her. When we returned with a plan of action, we knocked on her door, but she didn't answer. We tried a couple of times, but she wouldn't come out, although she was seeing my WhatsApp messages. Come late afternoon, I was just over it, so I knocked and told her I was coming in. I sat her down on her bed and told her gently but firmly it was inappropriate, making us uncomfortable. Told her she had to get the hell over it herself if she intended to continue to live with us. She burst into tears and starts crying about how she's so sorry and what a bad person she is, and she can't believe the pressure of lockdown is getting to her, whatever. And I felt bad, started sympathizing and trying to be compassionate, and then she says, "It's just not fair that the guy I'm in love with has a really great girlfriend." I lost my S. Unfair my butt. I told her she had a lot of growing up to do and perspective to learn, and that she owed the house an apology. She started to have a meltdown, a full, weeping, hiccuping, snotty meltdown, and then When I stood up to leave, I spotted in her clothes rack my freaking shirt. I took it and went back to my room. My housemate cried loudly with the door open until 7 p.m. for attention. When I cracked, I used our emergency contact sheet, called her mom, told her she had to come pick up my housemate. I've never met this woman who came rushing in like a superstar, but the look of annoyance and embarrassment on her face when she arrived and found her 27-year-old daughter having a tantrum told me this wasn't a new part of her personality. My housemate also shut the F up pretty quickly after she realized her mom was there. They didn't say anything to us and we just hid in our room until they were gone. I think she'll be gone at least for a while, but I texted her to let her know it would be best if she texted me before she came back. I don't know when I'll see her again. Technically, the lease ends in August, so my boyfriend and I think we can make it work and find someone new. And if not, it's not so long till we can re-sign without her. As a coda to all this, my boyfriend mentioned if she took a blouse, maybe she took other stuff too. I appreciate some of you may consider this an invasion of privacy, but I did go back in, just to check the clothes rack. I found a set of my jeans, my t-shirt, one of my boyfriend's work shirts, a vinyl I owned, my effing charm bracelet from when I was a kid from inside my jewelry box, and a sheet of my old antidepressants. This was just what was on the rack on display. I imagine there's more in the drawers. I don't know if this was the right thing to do, but I left them there for now because I don't want there to be any doubt she stole them. There's zero chance she's going to live here anymore. Honestly, I hope she does get help. I'm really angry and violated, as is my boyfriend, but I can empathize with the havoc an uncontrolled mental health issue can wreak on your behavior. And while it's still wrong, it still sucks for her to experience it and lose friends. Note, I can't be sure, none of us can, but I feel like maybe she has a histrionic personality disorder. P.S. Our mutual friend has told me another friend who went to school with my housemate had told her a rumor she told a bunch of people in their year that she had leukemia. Yikes! And there you go. Crazy weird flatmate is out of the house with mommy. Hopefully, like OP says, she'll just be back to get her things and get out, and then they can sign a new lease with somebody else or just the two of them. But it's best to get out of that situation, right? What do you guys think? How would you have handled this thing? Okay, well now let's move to the next story. What would you do if your spouse cheated on you and all your friends and family are telling you to take them back? Well, that's what happened to our next OP, so let's get on with that story. This one's from user ThrowArray42342. Wife of 7 years cheated on me. Now everyone in my circle of friends, her parents and my parents are suggesting me to take her back. Don't know what to do. I met my wife 10 years ago. We both were in college, dated for 3 years and married for 7. She is beautiful and amazing person and everyone in my family loves her. 4 months ago, I found out my wife was having an affair with a mutual friend of ours. It was a 1.5 month affair and she was acting very shady at the time. She would ignore my messages, turn me down every time I tried to initiate intimacy. I thought something was wrong. I did snooping but found nothing. Eventually, I hired a PI. Within 1 week, I got proof. She was having an affair with our mutual friend. I immediately confronted her. She confessed having an affair. Immediately she started crying, begging, basically all the classic cheater moves when they are caught. I asked her for all the details, with a timeline. That night, she gave me everything. Basically, she was using another phone for the affair. She told me she slept with him only 4 times and the rest, they were just hanging out and having fun. She cried and victimized herself during 3 days, told me that she cut all contact and would do whatever it takes to make our marriage work. She suggested marriage counseling. I denied and told her to leave me alone. I was hurt, betrayed, humiliated. She moved out to her parents. She started texting me every hour, telling me how much she loves me and how she regrets all this and will do anything to save our marriage. After completely ignoring her for 2 days, I texted her that we were getting a divorce. She freaked out and started having a breakdown. My phone started blowing up with her parents, sister, friends, telling me not to end the marriage and at least give her a chance. Later that day, she made a long post on Facebook explaining how she effed up and how she has destroyed her marriage. Basically, admitting her affair publicly. But I was rock solid on my decision. She even insisted to have a lie detector test to clear any doubts that she never cheated in the past. Blah blah blah. I asked her for some time alone to process all this. We have been separated since. This was all 4 months ago. Last week, I asked her for divorce and she started crying, begging for another chance. After that, she visited my parents and asked them to convince me not to do it. Last night, my parents and her parents tried to convince me to work things out. And after she made her Facebook post, almost all of our mutual friends were telling me how she was brave to admit her affair, that she loves me and I should at least give her a chance. I'm on the edge of having a breakdown. She is truly remorseful and regrets this. I do love her, but her cheating hurt me bad. I don't know what to do. Small update to answer some common questions. We don't have kids. We were planning to have kids after the lockdown was over. We both own a business and we work together. I haven't talked to her in almost 3 months, only business related stuff. After reading all your comments and PMs, I decided to talk to my parents. I called them and told them that I was going for divorce. An hour later, she called me crying not to end it and told me to please meet her in person. Since D-Day, I haven't seen her or talked about the affair. She told me she'll explain everything, to please hear her side of the story, and after hearing it, whatever decision I make, she'll respect it. Since I don't know what was going on and don't have much information about the affair, it will give me closure. So I've decided to meet her on Sunday. Well, that's the original post. So now let's continue with the update to see how this story finishes up. As decided, we both met on Sunday. She was quite miserable. I hadn't seen her in a while. We talked about our relationship. I asked her to take down the Facebook post, which she did. I asked her about the affair, why she cheated on me. She told me that she was dumb and selfish at the time. She didn't blame me for the affair. She told me that they were casually talking and he started talking about his affairs. She showed me their texts, where he was bragging about his fun life outside of marriage. She told me she was curious and one thing led to another. There were several texts where he was guiding my wife how to hide the affair. He suggested she buy another phone and always keep it in the car. I took screenshots of everything. She then asked for forgiveness. I forgave her, but I couldn't get past this. Divorce was my default option from the beginning. She begged to try marriage counseling. She told me she will never date anyone else ever again. If she does, it would be me. I don't really care. We will still work together as this was our dream project. As for our mutual friend, last I heard, his wife and him decided to reconcile. They have kids together. I really feel sad for his wife. She didn't know what kind of a monster he is. We are getting divorced. I've decided not to be in a relationship ever again. Well, OP, congratulations on the divorce. Good for you for leaving behind a cheater, although you are going to be seeing her probably every day in your work. And also that deciding to never be in a relationship ever again sounds a little bit drastic, but, go for it, man. In any case, the outcome is that you're okay emotionally and mentally, and you gotta keep moving forward. So, all the best to you, man. Okay, well, we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope that you guys liked it. If you did, please go ahead and click like. If you still haven't subscribed, then go ahead and click subscribe with the bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Also, here you'll find 4 different videos, 2 from Lost Genre, which is this channel, and 2 from my other channel, LG Reddit AITA, a channel focused exclusively on Am I the A-hole. So go ahead and give that channel a try. Alright, and having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.